Hey, DJ Feels Goodman here with another tip on DJing. So, as we all know, it's really important to be able to listen to your music and especially listen to two songs at the same time, figure out, which song is playing too fast, or more like when one song is playing too fast versus the other, and beat matching and how to do that whole thing. But I don't think we've really talked too much about this section right here. This section, which is on pretty much every mixer, and it's basically what you use to really control what you're hearing in your headphones versus what's going out in the booth monitor. If you have monitor speakers to begin with. So whether you have like something like this, which is a Pioneer DJM S9 mixer, or something much older, which is a Vestax PMC07 Pro, or something that's like this, which is another Pioneer mixer. This is a RX2, which is like a CDJ simulation sort of thing with these sort of buttons right here. It's all going to be there, and it's all going to do the same thing, essentially. So let's dive right in. Basically, I'm making this video because, there's been talk about, okay, well, I'm trying to beat match two songs, and I can't tell when one song is starting to come off beat, and also which song is going too fast, which song is going too slow. So this is to address some of that and to ideally help you beat match better. Let's take a look at this section right here. I'm going to just tell you um, how it works, and then we'll talk a little bit about how to figure out how to use this section that in a way that works best for you, basically, because really there's a lot of different ways to listen to your music. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So just to dive right in, you have three sections right here. This is the most obvious section. This is the level, and this is just the volume of what you're going to hear in your headphones. Now here's where it gets a little bit more interesting. This knob right here, you can see there's three different selections for it. There's Q, there's mixing, and if this phone will focus, there's master. Let's focus on the most obvious one, master. So if you put it on master, then whatever is going out to your audience, whatever is playing out live, basically, that's what you're going to hear on your headphones. Now, I don't know how useful that is unless your booth monitors suck or you don't have any monitors, but what really becomes valuable here is the ability to hear what's playing out to the people, and also what song you're going to bring in next without actually bringing it up. So to hear the next song while this is down, that's where this becomes valuable. So to do that, you're going to turn this knob to mixing, so you can hear the mix of what's live and what's not live. So here's what you would do with this knob, or rather this slider. You would turn it to, the channel 1 being this side, channel 2 being this side. Ideally, you want to turn it to make yourself able to hear what's not live. If you have this on mixing, you're going to hear what's live and whatever this is set to. So say for this example, if we've got a song on the left side, this is playing out right now. Song on the right side, it's not playing yet. You're still figuring out the beat match and other things. You're going to do something like this. In this method, I'm going to talk about the other one afterwards. You're going to do something like this. So this allows you to hear a mix of live and this song right there, channel 2. And here's what's valuable about this sort of thing. When you have it like this, what it really does is it allows you to hear the volume and the frequencies of the second song against the first song without actually bringing it in. So let's say, for example, if the second song coming in, let's say you're testing it and it's too loud, you can actually bring the mids down a little bit, or bring the highs, the treble down a little bit before you bring it in, because if you don't know this type of stuff, what's possible to happen, let's just say you had things like this, like basics, like you bring in the next song with the bass down like this or like this, depending on your preference. But you didn't know that the mids were pretty loud, or the highs were pretty loud versus the first song. When you start to mix them together like this, man, second song might come in super loud, super noticeable, and you don't like that. You don't want that to happen. Or let's say that the second song was super quiet actually, and you start bringing it in, and by the time you phase out the first song, like the whole mix is just quieter. And you didn't know that, but you could have known that if you previewed your mix beforehand. So that's what this does. And the last option here obviously is on Q. And so when you have it on Q, focus. When you have it on Q, basically whatever this slider is set to, channel 1, channel 2, the middle, which I don't use too much, is what you're going to hear on your headphones. And this is mainly for those instances where you're going to be wanting to hear the upcoming song on your headphones versus what's playing loud on the booth monitors. And you'll see one ear on, one ear off with a lot of DJs. One ear, let's say right ear, here's the next song, and the left ear here's the currently playing song, and you're trying to do a beat match like that. So let's say you don't have a mixer that looks like this. Let's say you have a mixer that maybe looks something like this. This is kind of a simulation of the more recent Pioneer stuff. This is the same exact thing. You have this knob here to decide what you're going to hear on your headphones. Q, mixing, or master. And the only difference is instead of the slider, you have these buttons here. So if you have the knob on Q, whatever you have lit up, whatever is turned on, is what you hear in your headphones. If you have it on mixing, then you would probably have this on, the master, and you will hear that as well as whatever else you have on your headphones. And if you have it on master, well, master is just master. Boom, master. If you even take it to like a super older mixer like this, there's some variation of it. You have right here, what are you going to hear on your headphones, master output or just a Q, and to control what the Q is, right here, left side, or sorry, right side or left side. Okay, so told you a bunch of stuff about this whole what you can choose to hear in your headphone thing. Where are we going to go with this? All that is kind of useless without this next part. So ideally, what you're trying to figure out is how to listen to your music in a way that lets you beat match easier. And depending on how you listen to your music, it'll be easier or more difficult for you to hear when your next song is not quite the same BPM as the first song. Namely, when the beats start to gallop. You know, you can line up the first beat or first few beats, and when it starts to come apart, you'll go boom, 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 ba-dum, 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 and then just train wreck. Depending on how you listen to it, you got to pick the best way that works for you. And the best way that works for you is the way that will allow you to hear when that breakaway happens as soon as possible, so you can make an adjustment and just be able to set the pitch, you know, pitch slider, tempo, whatever speed of the next song, so that you can get it the same BPM as a currently playing song. You know, equivalent is here, like you'll see on a lot of CDJs. Same sort of deal. Okay, so you've seen a lot of DJs pretty much just do the one ear in, one ear off sort of thing. And if you have all the gear ready, you probably just went straight for it and you tried doing it like that. You got your monitors and you're doing the one ear off sort of thing, and you're going for it and trying, and maybe it works out for you and that's the best way. But if you're having a little bit of trouble, I want you to try something. Actually, even if you think it's working 100%, I want you to try a little bit of something. Maybe this something is actually better or worse. Anyways, it's a fun experiment, so try this. So you're gonna get your setup and you're gonna have the same song on both sides. So not a good example. These are vinyls, but anyways, same song on both sides. Let's say you're using Serato or Rekordbox. Load the same song on both sides and get the song to play at the same time on the both sides. If you're using Rekordbox, you know, hit play on both sides at the exact same time, or Serato, you can do instant doubles look that up and do instant double so you can get both songs playing at the same time from the same place, same speed. You know, put this in the center on both sides, this right here, and get them to play so that the first song and the second song are 100% overlapping on top of each other. Okay, now also what I want you to do is, just for the sake of experiment, let's okay, so let's do this. Let's put it on mixing. So mixing, and let's put channel 2 on your headphones, as well as, you know, what's live. So we got the mix plus channel 2, and set your volume faders like this. Or you can have both of them up and just set it to master, just for this experiment. Now with both songs playing on top of each other, all the beats are lined up perfectly. Now on one of the sides, either slow it down or speed it up just a little bit, like keep on slowing it down, you know, drag your finger, or if you're on CDJs, you know, what you can just go, you know, like slow it down a little bit, sort of thing, little by little, or speed it up a bit. On records you can, you know, do that sort of thing, or you could even, you know, tweak with the pitch slider just a tiny bit, but basically just make a slight adjustment and keep on making such a slight adjustment until you notice that the beats are not lined up with each other. And you will have the headphone, both ears on, both cups on both ears, and so you hear both songs. And as soon as you start noticing that the beats are not lined up, you start to hear that gallop start to happen just a little bit. Just take a note of that. This is one way that a lot of DJs will do the beat matching, basically by hearing both songs on the headphones. Now I want you to do the same sort of thing again, line up both songs. You can even start from scratch from the beginning, and instead what we're going to do is, if you've got booth monitors, should have said this in the beginning, but you got to have booth monitors. So what we're going to do with this test is, you're going to hear the second song on your headphones while the first song is playing on booth monitor. So you're going to do something like this. You're going to, let's just set this second song is not playing yet, but we're going to hear it on the cue to the second song, and do the same thing, except do the one ear on. So right ear if you want to try that, left ear if you want to try that, but have one ear on with your headphones while you're listening to the second song on your headphones while the first song is playing out live on your booth monitors. Do the same thing, same exact thing, and start speeding up one side or slowing down one side. And take a note of when you start to notice that the beats are not lined up with each other. Again, you're gonna hear song number 2 on your ear, song number 1 on the booth monitor. And so what a lot of people will notice, and this is for me too actually, you'll notice that it was easier for you to figure out that the beats were not lined up when you hear both songs on your headphones versus when you hear one song on the headphone and one song on the booth monitor. That's how I suspect that a lot of people are like that. And so what does that tell you? That tells you that before you bring in your next song, you could probably do your beat matching all on the headphones. Then you bring it in. So let's try using that as an example. This will work too if you don't have booth monitors. It's going to be another method, so we'll talk about it right now. So let's say you're playing your first song, it's live, like that, and it's time to beat match with your second song, and you know, that whole thing, and also set your levels. Here's my workflow for headphones only. I will obviously channel 2 is what I'm going to preview, and I'll set it to here, mixing, and depending on the song, sometimes I'll do like this, or I'll just have it like this, or like this, depends. I like to hear the high pitches when I do my beat matching, but it's different for everybody, so you try it like this, or you can even try it like that with the filter, you know, up like that. Try a lot of different things for this. And so do your beat matching all in the headphones right here, and you're going to be hearing both songs in the headphones. At the same time, you can also set your trim if you need to on the second song. Like let's say you're listening to both songs at the same time. Clearly the second song is like super loud compared to the first one. And maybe you'll notice the levels on the second song are like bouncing super high versus the first one. You know, you can tweak that at this time. So you're going to do your beat matching here, or I like to do my beat matching at this point until I get it perfect, you know, or as close to perfect as I can. And then, so you're ready, now you're at the point where you're ready to bring in the second song, and you're just waiting for the first song to get to that point. Whether you call it I don't know, depends on the type of music that you're spinning. Hook, chorus, outro, whatever. There's, you know, there's a lot of ways to DJ, and it just depends on you. But once it gets to that point that you've decided, okay, I'm going to start bringing in my next song, you're now at this point. So basically, you're still hearing both songs on your headphones, even though second song is down, because you have it on mixing mode. When it's time to bring in the next song, go ahead and bring it in, and you know, do your nudging or whatever you need to do just to get the beats lined up. Ideally, it's already beat matched, but you just need to get it in there basically. And then so at this time you can still hear both songs. They're both playing now actually on top of each other, but you know, the second song is not live yet. So what you're gonna do is you will start bringing in the second song while keeping the beats matched. And whether you have to nudge it more, if you didn't get this perfect, you can, you know, fine adjustments if you need to. In a perfect world you don't need to, but in my world, which is definitely not perfect, you tend to need to. And then so anyways, you're going to bring in the next song. Oftentimes you're going to have the bass down when you bring in the next song, and depending on what you heard earlier when you were previewing, you might have the mids down or whatever. Let's just do like this for the sake of simplicity. Bass is down and you're hearing both songs. Now what you can actually do is let's just listen to the master. Let's just listen to the full mix like this, and you're now hearing what you would hear on you know, the PA system or your booth monitors if you have it. If you have booth monitors at this time, actually what you can do, you can actually just take your headphones off and you're listening to both songs on the booth monitors. And so you're doing your mixing, and at this point, if you feel like you're starting to hear that beat come off, that gallop, now you don't know which song is faster or which song is slower. You actually, here's something that you can do, and I don't know if this is the best way, but this is something that you can do. It takes a super trained ear to actually be able to tell. I don't know if people really can tell which song is going faster than the other when they're so close to each other but just barely off. So you take the song that's coming in, the song that doesn't have the bass in yet, and you could nudge it forward or you can break it back and slow it down a little bit, and you see if those beats start coming closer together. So basically it's a test. I'm hearing the beats come apart a little bit. Does this make it better, or does slowing it down make it better? Depending on which makes it better, then you can do a little fine adjustment on your pitch slider. And that's how to do the fine adjustment while you're in transition, which sucks but happens often actually. And so you're doing your mix and you swap the bass at some point if that's how you want to do things, and you start bringing the first song down a little bit. At this point you're still listening to the mix like in your headphones or on your booth monitors. And so there's going to come a point, you can hear both songs at this point, but there's going to come a point when you're taking away the first song, the original song. If you don't just do this sort of thing, like at the end of a build-up, you just take it all the way off. But if you're bringing it out slowly, there's going to come a point where you can't really hear it. Like, you might be able to hear it depending on how loud you're playing on your monitors or the quality of your monitors, but there generally is a point where you can't really hear the song that you're taking out. So what do? You can mess with this, and so you would say, okay, I want to hear the first song because I can't hear it on the booth monitors anymore, or I can't hear it on master anymore. So you do this, channel 1, I want to hear channel 1 on my headphones, and you go to mixing. So you can hear, doesn't matter where this is at, you're always going to hear it as if it was like here. So you can fade it away and hear it full volume, be able to make fine adjustments if you need to do them to keep the beats in sync, that sort of thing. And by then you are done with your transition from one song to the next, and hopefully you have kept things in sync. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Wow, you know, I said this was going to be a quick video, but we're on 20 minutes now. I hope this has been helpful, seriously. If not, definitely post some comments, let me know what you think, and I'll try to be as helpful as I can. And if you want to try this method every Monday, or most Mondays when I can make it out there, might be able to make it out there this Monday. Most Mondays over at the Old Dubliner over in Tustin, California, for the Dance Music Initiative's tutorial sessions. Teach you how to DJ, teach you how to beat match, teach you how to live your life, man. Anyways, this is DJ Feels Goodman, and I will see you next time.